What's on TV?
Get ready for brand spanking new episodes.
Yeah, but will it have new adventures, new laughs, and all new mouth-watering intergalactic fun?
Does this answer your question?
Brand new Simpsons, 8:30 Wednesday on 11.
Hello, my beautiful people, and welcome back to the Happiest Cast on Earth, the show where we review anything and everything that was somehow released by the Walt Disney Corporation. I am your host, as always, Ryan Johnson. Joining me today is, once again, dear old Gillian Rose.
Hi.
And today, here on the show, we have something very, very fun. Our very first Simpsons episode, but it is actually from season 26, so sadly not good Simpsons. And the episode in question today just so happens to be season 26, episode 13, Walking Big and Tall. So, Gillian, how familiar are you with The Simpsons in general, and in particular this episode?
Well, I mean, obviously, I've seen clips. I know who the Simpsons are. Everybody knows who the Simpsons are, but I haven't actually sat down and watched the show. So this is technically my first ever Simpsons episode that I've ever watched fully.
Wow.
Yeah. I've been living under a rock.
It's so funny because The Simpsons, at least when it started, was such a cultural phenomenon that even if you actively did not like the show, it was hard not to at least catch a glimpse of an episode or at least an episode full. But, now we're 30 plus years in the future, the show's still going on, and people just kind of look at The Simpsons and go, oh yeah, they're still a thing. And then they just move on with their day. Maybe a clip from a newer episode will trend on Twitter. And
Yeah.
maybe not even trend, just shows up briefly and be like, oh, hey, look at that. But other than
I
that...
feel like more people watch The Simpsons now via those TikToks with the subway surfers at the top.
Yeah, although that's more Family Guy's thing at the moment, so...
It has transferred over to Family Guy. I've seen the Simpsons and then Family Guy. I feel like next will probably be American Dad.
Oh yeah, the Family Guy funny compilations. But we're not here to talk about Family Guy. We're here to talk about the Simp Guy. The good dear old Simp. And I promise that's the only simp joke I'll make in this episode. I am pretty familiar with The Simpsons. I've seen a good number of episodes. Not the biggest diehard fan of the show, but I do respect the show for what it has done in the history of pop culture and animation, and just history in general, really. And there are a fair share of episodes that I do think are some of the greatest pieces of television ever made. As any sane person would. However, I think a lot of people can agree that The Simpsons hasn't really been its greatest quality-wise for the last, 20 years.
Having not really watched it, I don't have a full opinion on that, but I have heard similar things from other people who do watch it regularly, that it's just kind of gotten unfunny.
Well, here's the funny thing, because I have seen a good fair amount of Simpsons past that era, like 2010 Simpsons in particular. The show never stopped being funny, at least in the episodes that I've seen. There have been some episodes where it's like, okay, this show is really good, but that's a good joke. The issue is that, with The Simpsons, it was regarded as, the best show on TV for years, where every single episode, it was just constant funny joke after funny joke after funny joke. Memorable episodes in a row, you can get like a season of The Simpsons in its glory days, and over half of the season would be filled with all-timers. Nowadays, that's not the case, which is in large part due for how long the show's been on the air, and the fact that when you peak that early, where else can you go? And of course, as the TV show goes on longer and longer, more writers come in that aren't 100% aware on how the show is supposed to work, and Flanderization happens, which is where the term Flanderization comes from the Simpsons character Ned Flanders, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But The Simpsons not being the funniest thing on TV anymore isn't exactly a terrible thing, because it doesn't try to like get in your face and try to shock you or like try to make every single episode the next big thing like Modern Family Guy does. It just kind of stays quiet. It does its own little thing. We'll see The Simpsons every now and then in a little promo. Once Disney got their hands on them, they've been doing a lot of like
Mm-hmm.
little smaller like little bits and shorts with the Simpsons characters, namely some crossovers here and there through
Yeah.
various Disney Plus content. But I think that the show is in a very comfortable place right now. If it were to ever end, this would probably not be the note that it would like to go out on. But they did say at one point that the only way The Simpsons would ever come to an end is if one of the main actors died. So that might not be that far away, because have
They're
you
getting up there.
yeah, like have you heard any of like clips from like one of the more like recent episodes, like the last couple of years, specifically like clips of Marge?
I mean, I've seen a few, yeah.
She cannot do the voice anymore. Like,
She's really struggling, and I'm sure all those years of that voice on her throat has got to be terrible.
oh, absolutely. She like
I
they
kind of
need to
like it's the same sympathy I have for Lois's voice actress. Like, girl, there's no way you can keep that up.
yeah. The funny thing is like cartoon voices especially, they're not 100% made to like go on forever. They're meant to be
Hmm.
like, okay, this will work for like the extent of like a regular series, which was definitely probably the intent that the Simpsons voice actors made for when they created their voices for their
Hmm.
characters. Also, it's just the factor of like aging. You're not going to be able to have like the same vocal techniques that you did when you were in your 20s.
Exactly.
But let's go ahead and get back into time to the mid 2010s, where we get ourselves a interesting episode of The Simpsons, as in it's not very interesting at all. This episode, the most interesting fact about this episode is that we got lucky with our wheel of names that randomly selected this episode, because for the listeners that don't know, for TV shows, if the show is over 100 episodes, which The Simpsons definitely does have, I have like the seasons in individual packages. We did the same thing last week with the Fosters, where we just got season 4. This time we just got season
Yeah.
26, and I have Google random number generator to randomly generate the episode, and it selected episode 13. Episode 12, the one right before this, was the Elon Musk episode. So I think we got a little lucky here.
I would have to agree. Yeah.
Although not lucky enough, because this was also the same season as the Futurama crossover. So
Yeah.
we could
That
have
would
had
have been good.
we could have had something really fun to talk about. Talk about two shows at once.
Yeah.
But no, we have the revelation of the famous Simpsons national anthem, that I will tell you, Gillian, did not exist until this episode.
Nice. Yeah, when the episode started, I was like, I was watching the people get out of like their cars and stuff, and I was like, wait a minute, that's Marge, but she's little, like she's young. And then I watched, like, then it made sense as like the revelation through all of the things, like people singing the song for
Well,
decades, and I was like, oh, okay,
it did say like at the start of the episode, like, oh, we're in like the 70s now or something like that.
yeah. It's just it was, it was just like it was cool to see though like them growing up, and then like baby Lisa and little Bart was cool. It was a nice little touch in my opinion.
That's something that the Simpsons do a lot. It is a very frequent episode of them to just do flashback episodes of like, oh, here's Bart and Lisa when they're like really, really little. It's before Maggie, or Maggie was just born, or Homer and Marge are meeting again. And the show has gone on for so long that they keep having to change the date on when exactly they met. To the point where right now, Homer and Marge have canonically met in the 90s, which is after the show premiered.
Yeah.
This is what we call a floating timeline, where each and every single episode takes place like during the time it came out. But because that universe keeps going on forever and they refuse to let their characters age, they have to keep shifting things. This is also the same method that is applied in like the shared comic universes for DC and Marvel, which is interesting for those because like with some of the characters, like very specific times of history are connected to their origins. Like for instance, like the Vietnam War is a big part of the backstories for Iron Man and the Punisher initially,
Yeah.
but specifically later on when they just changed the wars they were associated with.
Mhm.
But going back to this episode, I do like the part where during this flashback where it was revealed that at one point Mole Man was the mayor of Springfield, because in the show he's just the most pathetic old man in the world, but he's just this big old happy slappy do mayor who everybody just hates in the future. It probably makes sense for why everybody treats him bad in present day because of all the crap he pulled as a politician.
I mean, yeah, probably. Most politicians don't usually have a good track record.
I guess that makes this a more idyllic future. So they're singing the national anthem. They're singing the Springfield anthem at the town hall until Mo bursts into the room and says, "Stop the presses! The Simpson, the Springfield anthem is plagiarized because apparently every single area in the entire world has the exact same anthem for their town, their state, their Area 51s."
I thought that was a good touch, the little Area 51 one.
Yeah, they could have, if they wanted to, have a little cameo from the Simpsons recurring aliens, Kang and Kodos. Although most of their appearances are technically non-canon with the Treehouse of Horror shorts, but just a little nitpick. And it's at this moment where they figure they need a new national anthem before putting the old Mayor Mole Man tied up to a horse. Where I do love the bit where he's just on the horse up until the very end of the episode, where all he has to do is just say "whoa," and then they'll just let him off.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything surrounding Mole Man is like the best part of this episode. which is how you know they got a good character. Because who doesn't love Mole Man?
I mean, this is my first introduction to him, and I thought he was great. So,
So they decided to write a new anthem for Springfield, and then Pharrell Williams shows up.
I thought that was fun. I liked that he was like, "Yeah, I'll write it," and then the mayor was like, "Well, actually, Lisa beat you to it, so you're out of here."
That's just a thing that The Simpsons did a lot, where just celebrities just show up for absolutely no reason. Half the time, there isn't even a joke. It's just, oh, look, it's Greg Foreman. It's Jeff Daniels or something like that. I don't know. There's Glup Shitto, the person. Sometimes they do make jokes about it, but other times it's just like, hey, Tony Hawk, welcome to Springfield. We're best friends now.
Nice.
So, yeah, Pharrell Williams, he gets out of here on the horse. So Lisa is now tasked. Let's task the 8-year-old with writing a new anthem for Springfield. And she works together with Bart because Bart had wrote songs in the past.
Yeah, yeah, the Lisa birthday song.
Yes, the from the now infamous Michael Jackson episode, which out of all of these 700 plus episodes of this show, it is the only one that is not on Disney Plus,
Nice. I didn't know that.
which is crazy now because there's information about Michael Jackson that we didn't even know when they removed the episode. So,
Hmm.
and yet they still have the Elon Musk episode.
Got to keep their priorities straight.
Oh
You
yeah,
know.
because not only do they have the Elon Musk episode, they have the Mel Gibson episode, and count them, two different episodes where the couch gags were animated by John Kricfalusi. Just want all the listeners to know that silence was not edited in. That was Gillian's honest to God reaction.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving right along, they have a whole different montage of Bart and Lisa writing the song, and we get to them performing the song in the hall, and it's surprisingly a pretty decent song. Like, low genuinely, not expecting the song to be as much as a, I don't know if banger is the right word for it, but a nice song, you know?
I mean, yeah, it's definitely unique. I love that they just, I really feel like they somehow simultaneously tried and then didn't try. It's just like, okay, that's
It's
pretty good, but like, why is it good?
it's that signature like brand of Simpsons humor where everything is kind of like subverted at the time, but it just has fun with everything in general. It's just silly and goofy, you know.
Hmm.
And then that plot is just is done. It's done because Homer he was sitting down. He was sitting down and he was too tight into the seat, and he stood up and he took the rest of the chairs with him because he's fat and he made the news and yeah this
Yes. The newspaper said it said like a blimp that size disaster, I believe.
yeah something like that. And yeah, this is another staple of Simpsons storytelling, for better or for worse, where the first like 7 or so minutes of the episode, like the first third, is basically its own short that has like one tangential thing that connects it to the rest of the episode. And this was a thing in classic Simpsons. It was a thing in this era of the show, and presumably it's still a thing in more recent episodes, it's been a minute since I catched like a modern episode of the show. But there are some episodes that don't stick to this. Obviously, there's the anthologies and Treehouse of Horror, but a large amount of the time, this is the average format for a Simpsons episode, which does have its benefits because if you just wanted to see that portion of the episode, be like, okay, that plot's done now, and I can turn off the channel. But at the
Yeah.
same time, it's like, all right, we just spent like 7 minutes on that. Could have done the rest of the episode. What's the point of that, I guess? But I guess it's just a neat little way to expand the world or something like that.
Yeah, or like a neat little way just to somehow include like a B plot that ties into the A plot in the end.
Without having too much of like an A B plot in the traditional
Yeah.
sitcom fashion. So after all of this, Marge tells Homer, "Homie, you need to lose some weight." Exactly like that. And
That was a really good impression. I'm sorry, I wasn't expecting such like a good impression.
It's one of my secret weapons is my surprisingly really good Marge Simpson impression. I can do it better than the actual voice actress, homie.
That, that's beautiful. I love that so much. Anyway, continue.
so Homer tries to head over to this meeting, and he actually ends up finding a different group called Big is Beautiful, where they actually embrace their fatness and being plus size, where we also get series regular the comic book guy. Gotta love him.
Love the comic book guy. I've seen clips of him like all over pretty much everything. I really like comic book guy.
Comic book guy is great because like he does accompany everything that sucks about fandoms, but he's so funny at the same time. But this isn't about him being a bit of an incel dude. This is about him being a fat dude and him joining the rest of these fat guys, along with this leader, a guy in a scooter named Albert. And of course, they make a Fat Albert joke. So basically, the rest of the episode is about Homer embracing to be fat. There's a lot of different ways to look at this. You could view this portion of the episode as being slightly fat phobic because they're like embracing that they want to be fat, but at the same time they constantly make jokes about how all they can think of is food, and how Marge is like, you still gotta lose some weight and all that type of stuff. And there's one joke towards the very, very end of the episode where this is jumping ahead a little bit, but like when Albert dies and Homer's at his funeral and he finds out that he was 23. And then he's like, guys, go to the gym already.
Yeah.
I don't know, because like I'm not a super fat guy. I'm a little overweight, but I'm not fat. So I don't know if I'm the right person to be talking about this. I'm definitely probably not. But I don't know. It's just an interesting perspective. But like on the other side, you could see this as, hey, don't be ashamed of who you are, that type of message. But it's all just so sloppily put together and just thrown together. It definitely is that era of The Simpsons where everything's just thrown to the wall, trying in like scraping at the bottom of the barrel, like trying to figure out what they didn't do with these characters yet, and they just put them everywhere. And I'm sure that in like the previous 26 seasons, there was definitely another episode where Homer tried to lose some weight.
Probably. I feel like also with this particular episode, the way that I viewed it is like they're trying. Obviously, they're poking fun because that's what The Simpsons does. They poke fun, but not necessarily like in a bad way, I guess. I feel like it's supposed to be body positive, but also body healthy. Like you can be fat and embrace being fat, but also still take care of yourself. Like don't send yourself into cardiac arrest at 23 like Albert.
Yeah. So that could be like the more healthy way of like trying to look at it, but like the storyline itself is just thrown together.
Mm-hmm.
Because like at that point I'm just like, man, I kind of wish we were still focusing on the whole Lisa and Bart music plot line. That one was actually kind of
That one was
cool.
good. I liked that. I liked that they were teaming up. I liked that it was a brother sister team, and normally they're like fighting, aren't they? Like that's the
Yeah,
whole
yeah,
gist.
they just act like how brother and sister do, and but they do come back to it briefly, but it's only for a joke on how they tried to write another song, but Bart just keeps crumbling up papers into the trash can, and they admit that they're only one-hit wonders, which is not true because the episode itself acknowledges the fact that Bart previously wrote Lisa, It's Your Birthday, which isn't what a one hit wonder is because Bart clearly has like two hit songs. Plus, in the past, Bart had another hit song with the I Didn't Do It song.
Mm-hmm.
And these weren't like extended media, these were all in the show. And if the show and if this episode wants to go ahead and reference very specific episodes from its past, then it shouldn't be out of the blue for the viewers to go ahead and reference the episodes from decades ago.
Yeah.
It's the same like minor critique I have of new SpongeBob, where it is so obsessed with constantly referencing its golden era, but very big details that are just completely forgotten about or even rewritten and retconned are just like, oh, yeah, SpongeBob met literally every single person in his adult life at summer camp. Even the ones that aren't from Bikini Bottom. Yeah, those guys. Oh, Patrick has two sets of parents.
So I'm gonna be honest with you. I wasn't allowed to watch SpongeBob as a kid. So I have no clue what you're talking about.
So moving on. The fat people are all causing chaos around town, protesting people around town. And then Chief Wiggum ends up barging in, but they all point out that he's a fat guy too, so he turns himself in. So like his partner just putting himself in the back of the car, so we finally get to see what it's like, I guess. And that's a
Yes.
bit, but it wasn't super duper funny for me. But it all comes together at the very, very end where Bart and Lisa tried to do the song, but they don't. And Homer and Marge have a big talk to talk on how do you expect Albert to be a big strong leader when he can't even get out of his scooter? Albert gets out of the scooter, he walks, and then he dies of cardiac arrest at the age of 23, like you said. And after the funeral, Homer agrees to like start being a little healthier and start walking. And then we get a flash forward into the future where Bart and Milhouse have become like a cyborg to each other. And Milhouse is living in his tummy. And that's the end of the episode. And Homer's thin.
Yeah, so that little like montage going on where it's like fat and then thin and then fat and then thin, and he was like in that really fat like floral gown. Don't know what that was about. And then he was thin again.
Yeah, just more Simpsons non sequiturs and just. And I think part of it is that they didn't know how to end the episode. They were just like, screw it, future scene. But yeah, that was basically the typical structure for a Simpsons episode at this stage of the show. Because this was before they started like slightly get better. Not like as good as the classic era, but like pretty decent episodes. But like this era was not like awful. It wasn't like the worst thing on TV, far from it. It was just so bland and painfully average. Like every now and then you'll get an episode like the episode that was done entirely in Lego. Like I believe it was called like Piece by Piece or something like that. Or the Futurama crossover or Barthood, which is literally just Boyhood but with Bart Simpson. But this was the standard for the show at the time, and yeah, it was pretty bland. I'm not gonna lie.
I having watched it, having not really watched a lot of Simpsons, like really only seen clips, and I might have seen a few episodes before this, but I don't think I have. I didn't hate it. It wasn't, like super funny, but it wasn't, not it wasn't bad. I do agree with you what you said earlier, where they just kind of like threw things at a wall and like just see what stuck. Like, okay, so that we'll do that, that, and that. But I didn't hate it. It was all right.
Yeah. But with that, Gillian, on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being a big old Boo Bear and 5 being a big, grand, shining castle, how would you rate The Simpsons, Season 26, Episode 13, Walking Big and Tall?
Maybe like a 2.5, a 3.
I have to get one or the other.
We'll say 2.5 then. 2.5.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. This was definitely a 2.5. Not the worst episode of the show I've ever seen, far from it, but definitely probably not even in like the top 300 episodes.
There were a few things that I really enjoyed about it that I made note on my little like Word doc. I don't know why, but I really liked the couch beginning. I love that they were little sushis. I thought that was super cute.
Oh yes, the couch gag. The couch
Yes.
gags have been like one of the only things in modern Simpsons that has remained consistently good, where a lot of people see the couch gags more often than they see the actual episodes. Like there was one couch gag where Rick and Morty showed up, and it was like 2.5 minutes. So some of them were really good.
I do like the little sushi couch gag. I think it's cute. But I thought it was really funny and like a little jab at like some people who like they get all that junk food and stuff, and then they get a diet soda. I thought that was just the funniest little jab when they were talking about all the food at the Big is Beautiful meeting, because I had an ex-boyfriend who would say that all the time. It's like, why are you getting all of this like food and then you're getting a diet soda? Just get the normal soda.
It's healthier, I guess.
Yeah, but you're getting like a fried donut in a diet soda.
But anyway, guys, that will be it for this week's episode of the Happiest Cast on Earth. Thank you all so much for listening, and thank you, Gillian, for coming back onto the show.
It was my pleasure. I had a great time.
Do you have anything you would like to plug?
No.
Well, I do. So this week is the closing week of Theater West Virginia for Shrek the Musical and Hunting the Rock. We have 2 more productions of each, so please come and check those out if you are in the West Virginia area, just the state in general, so please check us out. Also, please be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and follow us on Spotify for more episodes. And please check out my other channels, Mr. Johnson and Weird TV. I should have a new episode of Thomas and Friends of Bridge out by Thursday. Fingers crossed it gets out. And please be sure to join us next week on the Happiest Cast on Earth, where we shall be looking at the Disney Channel original movie, Go Figure. But until then, I will see you later. Bye!